Welcome back to another video. My name's Lisa Jane and I just would like to thank you all for being here, and if you haven't already, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing down below. I love to interact with all of you, and you know, the more people we can bring to this community the better, so that we can have them discussions in the comments. Today's video is going to be not necessarily the start of a new series, but just something I'm wanting to do a bit more often on this channel. I stopped doing wrap-ups a long time ago just due to the viewings. I was putting a lot of time and effort into them and I just felt like they weren't really being seen. And I know we shouldn't go on that, but it's just the way I felt at the time. But I'm bringing them back regardless, and we're going to make them quick and snappy. They're not going to be really in-depth reviews because I feel like, I always say this, I don't want to give anything away. So my idea for this is I have got a set few things that I would like to go to. So it's sort of wrapping up the previous month and then we're getting ready for the new month ahead. You will have already seen what's on my April TBR, so we don't need to go through that. But I just want to go through how well I did on my previous TBR. So if we have a look at the graphic, which I will put here, on my March TBR, we had In the Veins of the Drowning, Reckless by Elsie Silver, The Will of the Many, The Wolf King, The Ordeals and Bonded by Thorns. Now, I didn't do very well at all on this particular TBR. I never complete them. It's very, very rare if I complete them, but this one was awful and I sort of went off on a tangent and read other books. So out of the 6 books, I ended up reading 2 of them, which was In the Veins of the Drowning and Reckless by Elsie Silver. So what I'll do now is I will quickly just run through the 5 books I think I read in the end in the month of March, and I will give you some thoughts, but then obviously, you know, you can make your mind up whether you want to read them or not, or you might have already read them, let me know. So, like I said, Reckless was on my TBR for March and I gave this one 4.5. I think this was my favourite out of the series, and this followed, was it Theo? Yeah, it was Theo and I can't think of the lady's name. This is one of the first books I read in March. Winter. So this follows Theo, who is like a brother to the Eton boys, and Winter is Summer's sister. Now Summer is married to Rhett, who we met in the first book, Flawless. This is just a good time. It's a cowboy romance. They are a bit on the spicy side, so if it's not something you particularly like in your books, then go into these with caution, because I feel like you start reading them and they're okay, and then obviously the spicy scenes hit and they can be a little bit continuous, so it depends what you're in the mood for. Anyway, yeah, really enjoyed it. So obviously with reading Reckless, I then thought, you know what, it's only 1 book and I need to just finish the series out. So I went into Hopeless by Elsie Silver, and this one follows Beau. I think Beau Eton is the eldest, or one of the eldest of the Eton brothers, and we're following his story with the bartender. And again, I'm awful at remembering names. I think her name was Bailey, if I remember rightly. That's just, yeah, Bailey. And again, I gave this one, I can't remember, let me see. I think this one was a bit lower. Yeah, this one was 3.75. Again, very similar to Reckless, you know, the formatting is very much the same thing. There's obviously history with the 2 characters. We follow that history, and again, spicy scenes in here, so just be aware. But yeah, so I read them 2 books. The next book I read in the month of March was In the Veins of the Drowning by Kaylee Cassidy. I gave this one a 4.25 stars, and this was actually one of my favourite books of the month. This follows Imogen, and Imogen has been hiding away in this kingdom, and she's basically concealing that she's a siren. I think she's living in a castle, I want to say, and then a king visits from a neighbouring area, and he knows what she is. He wants to take her away, and they go on this sort of quest together. And yeah, I'm probably not explaining that very well, but it just says on the back, just for those who want to know, Imogen Nell has been in hiding for as long as she can remember, hiding from a cruel kingdom that believes sirens are monstrous, from a king who viciously hunts her kind, and from her own alluring abilities. In keeping herself on the sea, Imogen's bloodlust has dulled, her black wings concealed beneath her skin. So yeah, that's where that comes into play, where she's keeping herself concealed. And then it says, when a neighbouring king comes to visit, Imogen can no longer hide, for he knows exactly what she is. Better yet, he believes Imogen is a lost siren heiress who can save their kingdoms from an even greater monster. So yeah, and then together they embark on this quest, but I will let you read the rest. Book 2, I think, is coming out this summer. I can't think what it's called. I will pop an image of it here if I can remember to. But yeah, really, really looking forward to getting to the second book. Like I say, it is a bit on the darker side, and I wasn't sure that was something I was going to enjoy, but I really, really did enjoy this one. The next book I read in March was A Stage Set for Villains by Shannon J. Spann. This was our book club pick with Freya and Jamie, who do the Once Upon a Time Zone book club. And this was very, very different from anything I've read before. I think that was the overall consensus of everybody in the book club. This is set in a fantasy place called Theatron. And we have a wall, and we have the north and the south, and we follow our main character, Riven. We have what's called a theatre that appears with players and a director every so often. And when Riven was younger, she was cursed by one of the players. So there is lots of myths around you shouldn't be looking them in the eyes, you shouldn't upset them, you need to give them 3 compliments, all these kind of things. But I think she wants to get better, because basically whatever this player did to her has made her poorly, and I don't want to go into it too much, but this was so good, and it was so different from your typical fantasy book. We have it's split into different sections. We have the acts, so we have Act 1, Act 2, an intermission, Act 3, and yeah, I think Act 1, really loved the start of it. I'd say in Act 2 quite possibly it slowed down a little bit, and then intermission and Act 3 I felt like we were speeding up again. The ending got me on this one. I was a little confused at times and trying to get my head around things, but that doesn't take much with me, to be quite honest. However, if you're looking for a fantasy that's a little bit different, I would definitely recommend picking this one up. This was my last read of March, and it is In the Weeds by B.K. Borison. This is the second book in the Love Light Farm series. Love Light Farms was book number 1, which I haven't read. Now, I don't think it matters too much. I think there's been some references to the first book in here. I think we met these characters most definitely in the first book. However, it didn't take away from the story, and I don't think it's going to take away from the first couple's story. And I think I know who that couple's obviously going to be in it because of this. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. Beckett is a sweetheart. It calls him a grumpy farmer on the back, but actually I think he's got some really lovely qualities. We meet Evelyn, who's this big social media influencer, and in this book she doesn't know what direction her life's taking. I don't think she's very happy, and this book is mainly Evelyn trying to find her happy. So, she takes a break away from the socials. She, gets a burner phone, and yeah, we go from there. But please, if you like a cheesy springtime read, give this one a go because you won't regret it. I really enjoyed it, and I think I give this a good solid 3.5, which is okay for a book of this type. It's not a huge 5-star read, there's nothing new in it, but it just felt cozy and something that I'm used to, and yeah, could read it really quickly. I think it's only just over 300 I don't even know if it is over 300 pages. Oh yeah, it is just over 300 pages. So yeah, highly recommend. So they were the 5 books I read in the month of March. We are moving on to the next section now of this video. Now, I have made some graphics which I'm going to show you on screen. One is my spring TBR and the other is my 12 picks for 2026, so I can see them and you can see them. So let's quickly run through my spring TBR. I do have a video amongst my other videos if you want to go and watch this. If I remember, I'll try and tag it down below somewhere. But these are the 10 books I have chosen to read in the months of really March, April and May. But I did this a little bit late, so we haven't really had a chance to get started in March. But I have read off this In the Weeds, so that's a really good start to it. And I think on our April TBR, we do have a couple more of these, if I'm not mistaken. So hopefully we can get a few more off this list. But yeah, we shall see how we get on that one. We also have my 12 picks for 2026 that I chose at the beginning of the year. Again, there is a video for these books, but this is the graphic for them. I have currently read just one of these and I'm in the middle of another. So I have read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I read that in January. I think that was my first book of 2026 and it was actually a 5-star read, which was immense. So we went into the year really strong. And then, like I say, I am currently reading Miss Bourne. So I think I've got about 200 pages left to read of this book. But I've been reading it really slowly alongside my other reads. So yeah, we have lots of work to do on this as well, and this video now is really for me to start showing you where we're up to on these things, so that I don't just create them and then you never find out, you know, how well I've done on them. I want us to look at these things together and then I can see what I've got to work on, not you. But please let me know if you've got a spring TBR, if you've got a 2026 books for 2026 or a 12 picks for 26. You know, let me know what's going on. Let me know if you do set TBRs yourself. I would love to have them conversations with you. I have a series tracker in my reading journal, which I have been filling in really well this year. And if you wanted a more in-depth video, please let me know of the series tracker. But I have 99 series on my bookshelf. I think I'm in the middle of 16 series, and I've currently completed a series which was the Chestnut Springs. So how I do it is I just do a little box. I don't know if you can see that very well. I put the title at the top, then the books, and then I just tick them off and colour them in as we go along. Any that are uncoloured are either books that are not released or books that I've still got to read that I've got on my shelves behind me or on the book cart. But yeah, we're not doing too badly. We could do better on the series, but like I say, it's never a huge deal to me. The main thing is I don't want to forget the previous book, so that's what I need to be careful of. The number does not bother me, it's just that I need to make sure that I can remember what's happened. Or, you know what, if worst case scenario, I can look up a summary of the first book just to give me that reminder. So yeah, that's where I'm up to on series. Like I say, I finished one and we're in the middle of a few, but I'm also up to date with a few as well. They were just a quick brief overview. Now I'm going to just quickly run through a few of the books I've received or bought in March, and then that will bring us to the end of this video. I want it to be quite a quick video, a bit of a wrap up, and then a reset of looking at what books we should be looking out for on our next TBR and them kind of things. And then you can scream at me and say, this is on your spring TBR, this is on your 12 picks for 2026. Don't forget about that kind of thing. So, in March, I received, for Mother's Day, off my boys, I actually received 5 books. I received a stage set for Villains because my husband knew that was my book club pick, so he bought it me for Mother's Day. And then he also went out with the lads and got me the Lord of the Rings books. This is something I'm really interested in getting into. I think you've seen The Hobbit on my... It's actually down here. I think it's on my April TBR. Go and watch that video if you haven't watched it. But I've got The Hobbit here, but I've also got this version of it. So I don't know whether I'm going to be keeping this one in the end, but I'm probably going to need to decide at some point. But yeah, so I've got the Lord of the Rings box set, which I'm really looking forward to. I've never read or watched any of these films, so just with me enjoying fantasy now, I thought that might be a really good one to read. I then got another book, and this was an early Easter present, and that is King of Ravens by Claire Sager. I've not read anything by this author before. I have seen some of her previous fantasy works, and I am intrigued to read them, but this book is just divine. Look at that cover. The bird on the front has got like this texture to it. It's just gorgeous. And this is about Rhiannon, who is dying. She doesn't know what of. She's kept protected by her family in their clifftop home. She spends her days searching for a cure. Her world is torn apart when an unseelie king of the dead arrives and gives her a simple choice: descend to the underworld to be his bride, or he'll take her family instead. Trapped in a twisted bargain, Rhiannon is thrust into a world of withered gods, scheming courtiers, and ancient magic, but she refuses to be a pawn in a game she never agreed to play. Her new husband is powerful, cold, and infuriating, and she is determined to hate him. I think we know where this is going. But in a court where beauty masks and cruelty and every promise has teeth, hatred burns slowly into something else, something dangerous, something that could undo them both. So yeah, I can't wait to get into this one. And this is going to be part of, I think it's Upon a Broken Throne series. I think it's going to be a trilogy as far as I'm aware. But really, really looking forward to this one. And I have added it to my book cart. So when the book cart comes out again, you will see this one added. I then bought another 2 books. They have some really good deals in Asda. I am from the UK, if you couldn't tell by my accent. And we have a supermarket, I think it's called Walmart in America, quite possibly. I got 2 books for £8.98, so less than £9, which is a really good deal. I picked up The Names by Florence Knapp. I'm really intrigued by this one. This is a literary fiction, and I also picked up Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I'm not overly fussed on this cover. However, this was the one that was available in the supermarket, so I picked it up and I really want to read it. And I would like to read it before I watch the film. And then, like I say, we've got The Names. So I'll just read you the back of the both of them, and then you know what they're about. I would imagine a lot of people know what this one is about, but we'll read this one. So The Names just says, it is 1987, and in the wake of a great storm, Cora sets out with her young daughter to register the birth of her son. Her husband expects her to follow tradition and call the baby after him. But is it right for her child to inherit his name from generations of domineering men? Her choice will shape the course of their lives. It just says 7 years later, her son is Bear, a name chosen by his sister, hoping he will grow up to be brave and big-hearted. Or is he Julian, the name his mother set her heart on, keen for him to become his own person? Or is he Gordon, named after his father and raised in his cruel image, but is there still a chance to break the mould? Powerfully moving and full of hope, this is a story of 3 names, 3 versions of a life, and the infinite possibilities that a single decision can spark. So I'm really, really keen to get round to this one. And if I remember rightly, I think it's recommended to read it in the spring, summer months. So this could be a good one. And then we have Project Hail Mary. And this is about Ryland Grace. Ryland Grace is the sole survivor on a desperate last chance mission. And if he fails, humanity and Earth itself will perish. Except that right now, he doesn't know that. He can't even remember his own name, let alone the nature of his assignment or how to complete it. All he knows is that he's been asleep for a very long time and he's just been awakened to find himself millions of miles from home with nothing but 2 corpses for company. His crewmate's dead, his memories fuzzily returning. Ryland realises that an impossible task now confronts him. Hurtling through space on this tiny ship, it's up to him to puzzle out an impossible scientific mystery and conquer an extinction-level threat to our species. And with the clock ticking down and the nearest human being light years away, he's got to do it all alone. Or does he? So, this is classed as a science fiction novel. I'm hoping we're going to get to meet some quirky characters. I don't know if we are, but let's see. Just with it saying about he's got to do it alone, or does he? You know, do we meet some different types of species that are not obviously on Earth? We shall see. But yeah, they are my new books that I've hauled in the month of March, and they will be either getting added to the shelf behind me or added to the book cart, depending on when I want to read them. And the last part of this video is going to just be talking about my May TBR. So we're jumping forward a bit because we haven't even done our April wrap up yet. But for May, I put a post on here on YouTube and I put a post over on my Instagram account, which is also Lisa Jane's Reads, if you want to go and follow me over there. And basically, I am putting my May TBR into your hands. I have chosen 6 sets of books, so 2 books in each set. I've covered each book with a colour, trying to get it as close to the book cover colour as possible, and then I've put some emojis on top that might relate to the book underneath, and it is your choice which book I read. So I've put book A and book B, and you are going to choose which one I'm going to read in May. And like I say, I've done it over here on YouTube and I've done it over on Instagram, and I'm going to compile them votes together to find out what my final read's going to be. That is running till Monday the 6th of April. I'm going to close it at 7 p.m. on Monday the 6th of April. I think this video is coming out on the 4th, Saturday the 4th, so you've still got a couple of days. Go onto my posts. Go down, you should see at this point 6 sets of books. Please, please, please get involved. I love it when you all get involved. Pick which one you would like me to read. I mean, if you've got any ideas what these books are, please feel free to comment that as well. And then obviously we will see who was right and who was wrong. But yeah, that is all for this video. Please, if you enjoyed this video, support the channel, give it a like, and maybe click the subscribe button down below. And yeah, I will see you in my next video. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.